So last time on Dragon Ball Super, Ultra Vegito and Beerus faced off in what began as a spar, but unfortunately ended in Beerus' death. The reaction was immediate as all 11 gods then descended and took Vegito into custody while Whis watched on. There it was where the Grand Priest and Zeno passed judgment, and Vegito soon found himself now locked and chained up by their deities themselves, seemingly for eternity. And in today's manga, we'll find out if that is truly the case. But before we begin, support this video and channel by leaving a like right now as you're reading this and watching till the very end for its incredible conclusion. Enjoy. So our story continues with Vegito helpless and imprisoned. He's still chained up like some animal instead of the fearsome Saiyan warrior he truly is. It has been a long and fraught 10 years of being bound and kept here defenseless and entirely alone. His arms and legs both limp, having been chained up now for a decade. A time that has felt to Vegito like many lifetimes over. Shockingly, we are then treated to our first glimpse of Vegito's face. He now sports a full and unkempt beard that has grown unchecked during his years of exile. His body is but a shadow of what it once was. His defined muscles and impressive torso now replaced with a form that has now withered away and is skinny and frail. His clothes are in tatters, torn and worn at the seams, for they were not made to withstand such wear and tear. It is not just Vegito's body that is diminished, but his soul too, and it's evident in his facial expression. He wears the face of a man who is beaten, broken, and pushed further than their limits can withstand. As we zoom out and see the true sunken state of our once hero, it is odd to realize that even after all this time, despite it being many years, Vegeta and Goku are still fused together in the form of Vegito. It is as if the room or the chains themselves simply won't allow them to break apart. They are bound together for eternity, it seems, just as their imprisonment dictates. In this time alone, with nothing to do and no one to talk to, Vegito has well and truly been broken, existing only as a silent mess made up of Goku and Vegeta, who they two have become shells of their former selves. Vegeta in his side of Vegito's consciousness can only mutter, "Bulma," while Goku can only whisper, "Chi-Chi." But every so often, a sign of life, if you can call it that, shows itself in the form of PTSD, as tears suddenly and randomly appear in the eyes of the great Saiyan. After all, could you ever imagine the pain gone through to have been at the top of the world to now be at the very bottom, trapped forever due to an event which was no more than a mistake? It's in these brief moments that Vegito mutters, "Beerus." But suddenly, for the first time in years, before him, a small dot of light begins to appear. It starts off small and then gradually begins to grow, and grow, reaching the size of a large portal. Vegito doesn't know if this is real or his mind is simply breaking down further, causing him to hallucinate. Is this real? This warmth, it feels familiar. Thinking to himself as though a voice from somewhere would come and answer him. From the portal though, indeed a familiar set of feet step forward, gently as if attempting to arrive in secrecy. Vegito raises his head slowly, trying to get a better view of who it could be. He's seen those feet before, but he can't for the life of him remember where. His memory just isn't what it once was. But before we know it, Vegito is now wide-eyed, his face beginning to contort with confusion and shock. He cannot believe who he is seeing. Who is it?" he cries out, but his words are greeted with silence. The person comes closer and closer, and the look of realization then dawns on Vegito's face. "No, it can't be! Whis!" And standing there, looking as elaborate as ever, is in fact the Angel of Universe 7, Whis, who silently stands there, not uttering a word. It's not even clear just yet if he's arrived as a friend or foe. Regardless though, Vegito cannot contain his emotion. He yells out after years in silence, "Whis! Is that really you? Surely my eyes do deceive me. Cannot be you. Why? Why now? After all this time, after everything I've been through, where were you?" Vegito is screaming with intensity now. Rivers of tears are running down his face. The emotional trauma of being left to perish like this breaking through. It's clear just how much sorrow and pain the Saiyan has been left to endure through all these years. Only one can imagine what that must truly have felt like. So much so, even Whis looks on at him with a sorrowful face, and choosing his words carefully, he finally speaks and says, "I know that my words are probably the last thing you need right now, Vegito-san. I see that the years have not been good to you. You have gone through a world of pain I cannot imagine, and for that, I am truly sorry. I am." For a moment, Vegito waits as if Whis has more to say, but that's it. Whis continues to look at him as if those words would be enough to heal his broken soul. And in return, Vegito is all fury. He lashes at the chains binding him, his eyes brimming with wrath. He thrusts a chained fist forward as if he may be able to reach Whis, but it's no use. He's bound like a dog. He opts instead to attack with his words, shouting, "That's all you have to say? Those few pointless words? After 10 years of me wrongfully being trapped here? What good is your sorry? Will it give me back my life? You knew I didn't deserve this. Beerus wanted to spar us, not the other way around. I would never kill him on purpose, and yet you said nothing. You let them take me and destroy me like this. How can you even look at yourself in the mirror?" But Whis then begins to quietly walk towards Vegito, and slowly places a calming hand on Vegito's shoulder. Vegito doesn't expect this. He doesn't know what to do. But then again, what can he do? Whis begins to talk, his voice calm and soothing as he replies, "I know, Vegito-san. I know. You think that I don't care? That I haven't been trying to right this wrong? That's simply not true. For the last 10 years, I've tried over and over again to plead your case with my father, the Grand Priest. But it has been to no avail. There is only so much a son can do to make his father listen. You know I have no audience with Zeno. Therefore my father was my only way in. But you must also know, by angelic law, there is no excuse for the complete destruction of a god. You see, Vegito, you did not just kill Beerus by your mistake. In reality, in your ultra ego and ultra instinct fused form, your destruction energy from Vegeta's side led to his complete erasure. That is why I gave you no recourse to revive him. Once a god of destruction passes, by law, I must remain inactive until a new one is appointed. My powers ceased there and then." Continuing on, Whis says, "But I promise you, I didn't give up. I continued looking for a way to free you. That's when I thought of the Super Dragon Balls. They were the only option available. As far as anybody knows, they are the only Dragon Balls powerful enough to revive one that has been erased. But that would prove a lot harder than imagined, as they are scattered all through both Universe 6 and 7. It took Champa a millennia just to find his initial 6, and even then, that was with the unlawful snooping within our own universe. Something no angel can do. And besides, those balls were never meant to be used so casually like your Earth Dragon Balls. The Dragon God Zalama would simply forbid it. Once every 1,000 years is what he orders, since it is with his own power that the dragon draws its ability from. Vegito, hearing this, then bows his head. His neck muscles unable to hold any longer. He's heard enough. Nothing Whis is saying will get him out of here. He coughs up blood. His body, even now, still failing him. Before then suddenly looking at Whis again, his face filled with anger once more as he questions, "But why? Why didn't you do anything before beerus died? It didn't have to be like this at all. I know for a fact you could have foreseen what was happening. You know beerus better than anyone else. You could have saved him. You could have reversed time and stopped it before he was erased. But instead, you allowed it to happen. You watched on. You even watched on as I was nearly destroyed." But Whis simply responds, "Vegito-san, you're not thinking clearly. If I could have done that, don't you think I would have? Don't you think I would have intervened? Your simple mortal ideals are not the same as what is actually capable under angel law and the powers that be. There are rules in place, rules that must be abided by no matter what the situation or context. For one, an angel only exists to serve as an attendant to the god of destruction. This is our divine purpose, what we were born into existence to do. We cannot and do not ever act under our own will or needs. To do so would result in our own erasure from any and all timelines. It is certain death. The only times I have shown you such a technique, beerus would have been right next to me to give me the go-ahead. I acted upon his say-so, not just because I felt like it. The only other exception to the rule is if my own god of destruction makes a mistake that would harm the universe he and the Supreme Kai reside over. This is the one and only time that I may step in and correct this flaw and undo what has been done. I know this must be hard to hear, Vegito-san, but your destruction of beerus, I'm afraid, fell into neither category. And even if it did, I don't think you understand the power you have, Vegito-san. Not even I could have reacted fast enough to stop your attack at that moment. And once he was destroyed, as I said, my powers ceased regardless." Tears then once again begin to stream down Vegito's face again, as he realizes this is it. This is his life now. There is no hope for beerus or himself. He has been doomed to live out a life in chains. Vegito asks one final time, "So, there's really nothing I can do? There's no way for me to escape this hell, this life of torture? Even death would be better than this. Why even come? Just to take away the last bit of hope I had?" But even in a dark situation like this, the slightest glimmer of light from Goku and Vegeta appears as a smirk comes to Vegito's face and a memory begins to surface. Even while crying, even while in this dire situation that he's in, he still tries to bring some bleak humor, saying, "Don't tell me you've come all this way just to ask me to be the next god of destruction again, because honestly, after everything I've been through, I have to say, I might just consider it this time." But I'm thinking it would be as Vegito, because I'm guessing these angel-grade Patara of yours aren't going to defuse us anytime soon at this point, are they, Whis? And in response, Whis just looks at him with a small smile and says, I see that even after all these years alone, in this god-forsaken place, your humor hasn't left you. It's good to see that smile again. But yes, perhaps if you had defeated beerus under official conditions, in a proper bout, as a god of destruction candidate like Toppo was, then your ascension to god of destruction could have rightfully followed. But to prove yourself stronger outside of those conditions, I'm sorry, but it means nothing to Father or Zeno. And murder outside of it only means treachery and punishment. As we know from your old friend Jiren, despite being proven to be stronger than Belmod in a bout of his own, he will never become the next god of destruction of Universe 11, simply because he too refused to become a God of Destruction candidate just as Vegeta did. These are the hard lines that cannot be crossed, Vegito-san. Laws we must obey. Vegito, for a moment, realizes the truth in his words, saying, got it, like Jiren. Continuing his explanation, Whis says, but to answer your question in regards to your fusion, you're correct. When I gave these earrings to you both, I told you that these would last at least one day. And that is because angel-grade Potara can last forever if need be. Though it is up to you, the wearer. If you decide to take them off, you will find that you will return to your individual states, back to Vegeta and Goku as separate entities. But I guess for the last 10 years, you haven't exactly had the luxury of doing that or anything else for that matter. Vegito in response looks down forlorn once again, muttering, I see. I guess thank you for the information. As meaningless as it is while I'm locked up like this. But one thing I still don't understand, Whis, is you've come all this way to tell me about angel laws, why I cannot become a God of Destruction, and even to tell me I'm stuck as Vegito too. Yet the question still remains, why exactly are you here? What is it that you need from me? Look at how late you've left this. All I've wanted to do all this time is just go back and see my family. To go back to Earth. To continue my life as it once was. But from your words, it seems that hope is now dead and gone forever. Whis, now with a serious face, responds, I know that I cannot fix what has been done to you, Vegito-san. Nor can I truly emphasize with the pain and suffering you must have gone through being locked away here for all these years. But hopefully, my next words will be of great comfort to you, Vegito. I have come to free you. What? Vegito's face immediately lights up in shock. He cannot contain the emotions coursing through his veins. He doesn't know whether to be happy or scared. He continues, Wait! What are you saying, Whis? What do you mean you've come to free me? How are you going to do that? And why now? After all this time? Whis then turns his back to the Saiyan, and with a smile and sweat beating down to his face, then explains, I don't want to keep you any longer, but of course, I know that you desire an explanation. The truth is, Vegito-san, I feel as though my time as an angel has finally come to a close. Though my powers have returned after a new God of Destruction has been appointed, it pains me to admit that the gods of destruction have changed since Beerus' death, and not for the better. It is hard to explain 10 years of events, but I've never seen them behave in such a way or even think the way they currently do. After disposing of you, the gods have since become cocky and arrogant in the most ungodlike of ways. It's as if they now know they are simply untouchable. For you, Vegito-san, were the ultimate example to be made of. You were the strongest mortal in the multiverse, the strongest mortal that ever lived, and now they had imprisoned you forever for destroying one of them. I was barely keeping it together. I was at the end of my line, but still, I decided to keep going. It was not my place. I am just an angel. However, it was after their most recent act, where they destroyed something very dear to me, that I knew as soon as a new God of Destruction was appointed and my powers were back, I would arrive here. I knew then that something had to be done about this, and that something is this. I stand here before you, knowing that my final act before disappearing will be to save you, Vegito-san, to finally undo what has been done, but this time, not by time reversal. A shocked Vegito is distraught, unable to accept the words he is hearing. He says, What? Disappearing? To where? I don't understand any of this. What exactly are you saying, Whis? Whis then smiles softly again at Vegito, and then puts his arm out in front of him almost as if ready to blast or attack him, saying emotionally instead, Vegito-san, I know that this isn't enough, but I beg of you to please accept these last words of mine. I'm sorry for what you have gone through, and still going through. I'm sorry for what my father and Zeno and the other 11 gods have allowed to transpire. The evils they have inflicted on you, and the horrors they forced a hero such as yourself to face, I know that it is wrong. I am but a mere angel, and to meddle with mortal affairs and to go against the decision of my superiors is one that will be met with erasure. But I have watched Universe 7 for a millennia, and in that time, I know what is ultimately best for it. There is nobody who knows this universe better than I, and it is time for me to take a stand, to do what is right, instead of just following orders as I have always done. It is time for me to say goodbye, my friend. And with that, Whis yells, "Ha! Release!" And just like that, a force from Whis is thrust upon the chains, snapping them open and breaking them up into pieces instantly. Vegito has been released after 10 years and yells, What? I'm free! Not used to standing up on his own, he immediately falls weakly to his knees as the rest of the shackles clamber on the ground, trying to regather the strength he once had, but he coughs up blood once again, his body straining under its own weight. My body, it feels different. Still on his knees, Vegito then strains his heavy head to look up and suddenly yells, Whis! He screams, a lump in his throat from emotion. He knows something is happening, something bad. But Whis says nothing. He simply smiles and stares at his mortal friend, Vegito, as he begins to slowly erase to nothing, his existence being wiped out for eternity, just as he had foreshadowed earlier. Vegito, even with no strength, finds something deep inside to throw out a hand and naively grab him. But as he tries to grab Whis, his hand is met with nothing but thin air. Whis has gone, disappeared into the nothingness that is erasure. No! Whis! Vegito yells, but his words cannot follow wherever Whis has gone, and are ultimately met with pure silence. He falls to the ground, wrecked with emotion, struggling to accept what is happening. He starts slamming the floor in anger, tears running down his face and splashing onto the floor, creating a puddle. But suddenly, something piques his interest. There's something else in the room with him. At the corner of his eye, he notices that Whis' staff has been left behind by the angel. Slowly, mustering his strength and moving cautiously as if not to tempt fate, Vegito struggles to his feet and makes his way over to the staff. Instantly he grabs it, like it was made for him, only whispering, Whis, what did you... But now, moving the staff around full of hope and energy, he looks at it with a smirk saying, I guess this was your last gift to me, Whis. I cannot thank you enough. Maybe, just maybe with this, I'll be able to travel to the other universes and to Zeno to try and sort this mess out. Is that what you wanted, Whis? Maybe this is how I bring you and beerus back somehow. But for now, there's only one thing I have to do for my own sake, Whis. And that is go back to Earth. To see my family, my friends, my home. But first, I can't let anyone see me like this. Maybe Bulma would like it, but for Chi-Chi, this is a big no-no. I gotta get rid of this damn beard. Vegito then summons an energy sword from his hand, and in one precise swoop, the beard falls to the floor in tatters. Now clean shaven and looking more like the Vegito we know, Vegito stands tall, almost a new man with the staff, and calls forth, "Take me to Earth now!" And surprisingly, as if the staff knew Vegito always as its wielder, then shoots off, taking him with us. But Vegito soon arrives in a blank and empty space. He looks around, not sure what this means or even why he's here. There's literally nothing here but empty darkness. Definitely no sign of Earth. This doesn't make sense at all. What the hell happened here? Did the staff take me to the wrong place or something? It couldn't be. Vegito then places his fingers on his head, thinking, I'm not sure what's going on here, but no matter anyway. I'll just use instant transmission and lock onto someone on Earth. Let's see who I can find. He closes his eyes and concentrates. No way! But as he tries his best, he still can't seem to find anyone. Vegito starts to panic now. He opens his eyes and says, What? No! That's impossible! I can't sense Earth anymore, or anyone on it anywhere! How could that be? This is where it should be! Following this, he immediately looks to his right, and points to the moon saying, There it is! Earth's moon! Kami restored that long ago, after Piccolo destroyed it. I'll never forget that, or where it's supposed to be. Trying to rationalize things, Vegito then places his fingers on his head again and tries to go somewhere, to lock onto someone, but again, nothing happens. As Vegito grunts, You're kidding me! Even New Namek has gone! What is happening? Who could have done this? Surely, this is some kind of trick! A game someone is playing! Wait a minute! Suddenly, Vegito's face goes extremely shocked and wide-eyed as he has a flashback to one of Whis' last words. Words that rang. They destroyed something very dear to me. The pain is almost too much for Vegito to bear. He grimaces in agony as he realizes what Whis was talking about. No, they didn't. Did they? Even New Namek? As rage begins to build, he continues, Those damn gods! They imprisoned me for all this time! Erased my family and friends! Made Whis erase himself! And removed our only hope of bringing anyone back! Why? Why? Vegito immediately grabs onto his head, trying to restrain the beastly fury that is finding itself out. The heartache is too much, the grief begins to consume him, and his primal Saiyan rage overflows. Now completely powered up, his muscles bulge to a point that even surpassed how he was a decade ago, his eyebrows gone and surrounded in a majestic aura. Ultra Vegito screams so loud the entire universe hears, and with a crazed, almost insane look on his face, he proclaims, I'll kill them! I'll kill them all! No god will be safe from this day forth! And with those final words ringing throughout the multiverse, Ultra Vegito, the God Killer, has finally been born. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag GodKiller in the comments down below. And let me know if you need part 5 to this story ASAP. If you do, you can help fund the sequel on my Patreon, where for just $3, you can not only support this manga, but also receive a ton of manga goodies shipped straight to your address. But if you just want to watch more of my content, just click on one of these two videos on the right now. Until next video guys, cheers.